right, guys, if you want to learn how to turn your knowledge, your expertise into cash, this episode today is for you. My name is Michael Tucker, and I am the host and the founder of the $1,000,000 Secrets podcast. And today I actually brought on somebody that I've known for about a year now, Ria Christina. Ria's in the building. She is in one of our masterminds, but also she's great at what she does. So I wanted to bring her on and talk about how you guys can leverage what you already know. Leverage the things you're already good at to start making money online. And you've probably seen people with ads, hey, build these courses or start a coaching business. Well, we're going to get Ria's take on this and let her dive into sharing how she's been able to help people over the past few years doing this and how she goes about building online businesses in 2023. So Ria, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Open up, tell everybody a little bit about who you are. And again, thanks for being on. I'm so pumped and excited for this conversation.
Listen, thank you so much, Michael, for having me here. I'm excited to be able to share with your audience as we talk about how do we leverage our income. So, as you said, I'm Ria Christina, and really and truly, my heart and my passion is really having to help people in understanding how they can actually take their information and turn it into income. Many times, when we think about getting into business and then being in the online space, we just thinking about what product I have to come up with, how do I get it into a brick and mortar store, or even the hassles that come with it when you think about the overhead expenses and all of these things. But the reality of it is, there is something that each of us know. We know something that somebody else doesn't. And why
That's
is
true.
it at this particular point we're not taking advantage of the opportunities to share that information, package it, and begin to make some money? So that's where my passion really started from. And particularly so, there was a portion of scripture that I came across, which was Ecclesiastes. And let me just read this portion of scripture for your listening audience, just to kind of give you context, that this scripture changed my life, right? And it says, it's a familiar portion of scripture. This is Ecclesiastes 11, 1 through 2. It says, cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. Give a portion to seven or even to eight, for you know not what disaster may happen on the earth. And what that says to me, and it even ties in when we think about what would have happened during the time of COVID. There were so many things that was happening. A lot of people, even when we think about being in a lot of the jobs that we thought were secure, they were not secure after all. It was those people that had multiple streams of income, that was able to sustain their way of living because they sought to find alternative ways, if I could put it like that, in order for them to actually make a living.
Man, I love it. I love it. So teach, I'm sorry, you teach people how to take information and turn it into income. And so there's people listening right now and they're like, what do you mean information to income? I maybe have a lot of information. Let's just say somebody has a lot of information about, we'll just say stock trading or maybe something along the lines of real estate, right? What do you mean by
Mhm.
taking information and turning it into income? Would love to have like a practical example of how you've done this in the past or maybe how you've been coaching people to doing this.
Yes, so I'll give you an example of one of the persons that in the health coaching business, right? As a matter of fact, she's like, Ria, I really enjoy helping people as it relates to, with their health and things like that. And eventually, of course, in terms of having the conversations with her, and I'm like, you just talking to people and they're not paying you for your information. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that probably sounds
So
like a lot of
why not?
people on here. Anybody in here ever been like giving out information? You're just like, I wish I got paid for this, right? People come to me all the time about XYZ. I wish I would have got paid. So that's what was happening, it sounds like.
Yeah, and exactly so. The thing is, there were so many people that just kept on coming to her because she was able to help them with getting results. So I said to her, listen, why don't you go ahead and you could start a coaching business, right? Or even when you think about what else could you possibly do, take that information and convert it into an ebook. An ebook is not something that is, when you think about the traditional books where you have to go ahead and get a publisher to get it printed and all that sort of stuff. You have free tools online that's available. For example, we have Canva. Canva.com, for those of you that may not be familiar, you can actually get access to Canva, have your information, start off with your topic. What is it that those people or people are actually constantly approaching you on. So if it's the health coaching, uh, here are three quick tips or 10 quick tips about how you can live a better life. That's your topic. Then you break that topic down into your subtopics. You have your various chapters for your topic, your ebook. And as you have your various topics, then you expand on those topics. And as you're expanding on that topic, you create this digital format, this digital download that people can easily access. And the beautiful part about it is this is not something where you are having to go and deliver it to them yourself, because this is where the system can now automatically deliver it for you.
I love
This
that.
is where the
Yeah.
automation comes in. So you're wanting to, for me, the biggest part of my passion is really how is it that I can make money while I'm sleeping? Like,
Like that.
doesn't
Like
that
that.
sound like the ideal,
That's
the
everybody's goal,
ideal
right?
job?
Yeah, I mean,
I need to be making
we
money
live in
while
a
I
time
sleep.
too, Ria. I mean, like think back to the early 90s, even just up to early 2000s, right? Like everybody, if you wanted to sell a book, there wasn't really anything about ebooks in the 80s or 90s, right? Like you had to print a book, send it out. And so I love what you're talking about, which is leverage, right? You're talking about how can we leverage the online digital space to make money, but not only to make money, but to save us time, right? Because time is our
Mhm,
most valuable asset we could ever have. And so how can we build out a business to where we're leveraging these systems and automations like Ria was just talking about to make money? And so for some of us, we've been thinking for so long, how can I do this? But people like Ria and myself, we ask, how can we let technology do this? How can we let systems and other people do the heavy lifting? So all we have to do is craft and put together the idea, put together the product and sell it. And then the delivery and the fulfillment is automated in a scenario like an ebook, right? And so
mhm.
I love that scenario. It's just like, how can we leverage? And this is a great question for everybody listening and watching. How can you leverage other people's resources, other people's time, other people's energy? And that may sound bad, right? But I mean it in a good way. How can you leverage the work of other people to grow your business? So I just wanted to pause there because I think that's super powerful if people get that and really embody that. Wouldn't you say?
Well, Michael, what the other thing that I want to add to that is the key here is where you do the work once and you're able to see that income just keep on coming in. So it's not as though you're having to approach this ebook. Once you write that ebook, that's pretty much one and done, except you want to go ahead and have another version of the book. So after a few months or even after a period of time, a year or so, if you want to revisit that book and now say, you know, something you want to go ahead and update it, then at that point in time, you would have to go ahead and say, you know, I'm going to add something else, I'm going to take something away, but the work is actually done in that one time. So
Right.
even if you have to commit yourself to say, you know, something, I'm going to commit myself to writing this ebook. I'm going to give myself 5 days. I'm going to give myself 2 weeks. And really and truly, as you talk about technology, technology at this point in time, we don't even have to take 2 weeks to actually write a book or even a month to write a book.
I
We can
know, it's
actually write
crazy.
an ebook within 24 hours. So it's not as long as it has been, as long as you know the tools, as long as you know the resources, as long as you even have the support. Because the other side of it too is, of course, we can actually just go to, we think about going to places like YouTube or just Googling, just Google searching all day long and not necessarily having a streamlined approach. But when you see you get yourself connected with somebody who would have done it multiple times, it actually saves you time, effort, and a whole lot of strain and stress. Because the other thing for me is having to save people the from being in that place where they're saying, you know, something, I have anxiety, I have
Hmm.
overwhelm, I have stress because it's just so much information. And I do not have an organized way or a structured way in which I can say, you know, something, step one, two, three, four, five, and this is how I can go ahead and come up with my product at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's the power of having a coach and being around a community as well of people who
Yes.
know the way, go the way, and show the way, right? And so I love that. I want to bounce back to something, a thought I had whenever you were talking about creating an ebook, and we could be talking about other products too, right? But whenever you were talking about creating an ebook and then, maybe having to update it later, I had this thought. one way to generate more revenue in your business, here's a note for all you note takers, more ways to generate more revenue for your business is sell to people who have purchased in the past, right? The people
Hmm.
that have purchased a product from you in the past, those are some of your hottest and prime buyers, right? Those are the people that, if you come out with a new product, more than likely will be the ones to purchase future products and that product. So whenever you were talking about like doing like a revised version of the ebook, you may have to do, eventually over time, like go back to those people that bought the original version and say, hey, here's the revised. Do you want it? I'll give you a discount or something like that. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So many times we're thinking of new ways to make money. We often
Hmm.
forget about the simple tactics, which could be just going back and revisiting the people who have already purchased with you in the past, because those people already know you, they've already consumed your content, and more than likely they have a higher trust level versus reaching out to cold prospects or cold potential clients. So I just want to throw that in there. I know that was kind of off tangent, just was floating up here in my head as we were talking about that. So I love it. So you're talking about how can we leverage other people's resources, but not only that, how can we have streamlined processes? So there's somebody here, they're listening, they're saying, Ria, like, I think I'm good at this. Like, I think I have enough information to maybe make some money with it. What would be like the first step you tell people to like get into this space we're talking about, right? To get into where they can leverage their information and make some extra money, right? So where would they start?
Well, I mean, the first place for you to actually start is to see whether or not there's an interest in what it is that you want to do. And you find that point of interest by way of, I tell people all the time, uh, we're on social media, right? Let's use social media to help us in determining what is an ideal product for our audience, and our audience will tell you. So here's what you can actually put out a post and say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about creating this ebook, and here are three topics, and create a poll and let them vote. And that there, see, psychologically, you're baiting them to get them to say that, something, I think I'll probably be interested in this particular product. And even as you're doing that, you allow them to vote on the actual title of the book. Even when you start to think about having a cover, you can actually have three different versions. While you may already have an idea as to what you want this product, this cover to look like, you can allow them to vote. Let them tell you, oh, so what do you think? I'm thinking about using this particular cover, the next particular cover. And those are some of the initial things that you can actually do, because here it is. What you want to do is you want to start to build that interest up before you get into that part where you're actually creating the product. You want to create after you already build that interest. So
I love
you don't want to create before you get that interest. You want to get that interest first before you go ahead and create. So that
I
when you
like that.
get
So
to
you're
the
you're
point,
talking about like kind of like this person, their interest is going out and just starting to get a feel for if the demand is there, right? If they have the
yes,
pull for that. That's cool. A lot of times when we work with some of our clients, as you know, we do something called a waiting list, right? And this is just
yes,
a tip for some of you guys. Ria knows how to do this, but maybe build out a site or something. You could make the post, like she said. I encourage you to do that wholeheartedly. But if you want to even go in deeper, if you have a bigger audience, you could even do like a email or a text blast with a waiting list where people could click on this site and it says, "Hey, I'm just making this up, about to release a brand
yeah,
new mini course or a brand new ebook on how to flip your first property in 2023." Right?
hmm,
Put your name and email in to be the first to know about when this drops. Or if you're interested in this product, if you're interested in this ebook, put your name and email in and we'll let you know when it goes live, right? So then if you have a bigger email list or a bigger social media following, you can at least start pulling some leads, right? Some emails, some phone numbers from those people, and then later on can reach out to those people once you launch to try to sell them the product. So
yeah,
I love that Facebook or that post thing too, because um, you're leveraging something that we all have, like you mentioned. We're leveraging social media. I don't want to say all, but most people have social media. So for you to
yeah.
leverage a platform like Instagram, like Facebook, like Twitter, it could be
TikTok.
very great. So I love that thought.
The other thing too, Michael, as we're talking about the wait list, the other part of it that people can actually consider is having a pre-order type of situation.
Yeah,
So if you want to take it to the next step and say, something, if you want to go ahead and get a pre-order, you get it at this particular rate. That's where you start to even make money before you go ahead and create that product.
You know who
So
is the greatest at this? Elon Musk. All right.
uh,
I don't know if you know much about this. Elon Musk was like is like the king. I look at him like the king of pre-orders. You guys, if you remember the Cybertruck, I don't know if you remember this, Ria. Do you remember when he was rolling out the Cybertruck or something like that? It looked like
no.
this funky truck. He was having people put down deposits of like $100. Now this is like deposits, save your truck, but they were non-refundable deposits. So he was telling people like, "Hey, we're rolling out this Cybertruck. It's going to be amazing." He sold the vision for what it was going to be. Put down, I think it was like $100, $200 deposit, and then you'll be the first to get the trucks when they come out, right? Like that's
Mhm.
pre-selling, right? And I don't even think they ever came out with that truck yet, right? I think they're still building it, and that was like 3 to 4 years ago. So he
Wow.
got thousands and thousands, maybe even millions of people to put down $100. And so let's just do the math. I'm just gonna say we'll go on the low end. We'll just do 100,000 people, which we know was way more than that. But he got $100,000 to put down $100. That was $10 million. $10 million he could go use in his business to go ahead and start building the product. So I love what Ria just mentioned because that was total gems in the well for multiple reasons. One, go ahead and do pre-sales so that if you are doing like physical book copies or you have to
Hmm.
pay a video editor to edit your course or whatever you're doing, or you have to pay somebody on Fiverr, you don't have to be out of your own pocket. You can just use those funds and go fund the project, and then you just have to deliver when it's done, right? And so that's number one. Number two, why I love what Ria just said is that this builds some urgency for you. So if you start pre-selling an ebook, or you start
Yep.
pre-selling a course or some kind of program, there's going to be a little urgency for you to have to get it done, because most of the time we put it off. We're like, I'll just write that later, or I'll just create that product later. But if you know Ria is expecting this book by this date, I got to get to work, or they're going to be asking for refunds, or they're going to be mad, or they're going to leave me bad reviews, right? And so I
Hmm.
just wanted to pull that out there because every time somebody talks about pre-selling, I think straight back to Elon Musk. I'm like, that dude learned it. He grew Tesla that way. Why can't we? So, anyways, I'll let you continue on. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, no, no. But that was pretty much. I mean, we want to make sure, and even as you were talking, the one word that actually came up is actually accountability. It holds us accountable to the things that we know, and having to get into the space of ebook, and even when we talk more about the information product, a lot of times we discount the information that we know. So let's talk to that person who said, "Well, I don't know anything that I can actually put into an ebook." No, don't say that, because you just simply need to know at least three or four more steps or thing a little bit ahead of somebody else, and you can teach them what it is that you know. It's just a matter of how do you now package it. You think about the person that has the car washing business. Can you create information product? Absolutely. There's a process by which what you're using in terms of you having to now wash this car. When you think about the person who is in the industry where they're saying, something, I am a landscaper, I am a home builder. There's so many, and the beautiful part about information products is that there are no limitations in terms of which industry it can actually go into.
100%.
As long as you have information, there's somebody out there that doesn't know what it is that you know. And taking a lot of times, like I said, we do take for granted what it is that we do know, because there are things that comes so naturally to us. They come natural. This is what I do. I know how to do this in my sleep. Like, it only makes common sense. This is what we will sometimes think, but not realizing that it really isn't that common. So it's something that you can still go ahead and share with somebody. So don't limit what it is that you can actually do. Now, how is it that you can take this ebook and now create some other things? So now you have yourself this ebook. You can now go ahead and convert that ebook into a mini course. Each one of those chapters can now be converted into lessons. And now you have yourself a mini course from the
Love
very
it.
same product. You're not
Repurpose.
going to say you have to come up with a brand new idea. No, 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 no. That same ebook. So you allow that ebook to now be converted into a mini course. And after you have that mini course, you would have had your beta group, you've tested it. Now you can now expand that into a much bigger course. And then
Love it,
before
man.
you know it, you can have a full blown program.
Yeah, you can have all these
And
products, and This is so dope. That's
You
so cool. I'll let
right.
you continue on.
Yeah, so now you have a full blown a program. Then you can actually tie on coaching to that. But you don't necessarily need to do one-on-one coaching, but it can actually be group coaching where you are able to target multiple people at the same time, and you're now leveraging your time. So as opposed to you now giving out 10 hours in a given week, you can now say, you know something, this is a group coaching program. These 10 people meet at this 1 hour. So now you get your time back.
I love it.
Now, I
Man,
don't
there's
want to
so
say
many.
anything else. Go ahead, Michael.
No, you're good. I'm just thinking, I'm like, man, this is deep. Like people can actually run with these plays and like make some serious money. And I love what you said. It doesn't matter. It's not limited by industry, right? You could be good at knitting socks. You could be good at making cakes. It could be that you're good at helping people get rid of their back pain. Like there's so many different ways. It doesn't matter whether you're in the health, if you're in the nutrition industry, if you're in the finance industry, if you're in sale, it doesn't matter. There's so many ways you can take your knowledge online. Uh, and it doesn't, like, people ask me all the time, and they probably ask you this too, Ria, is like, but my what I love to do doesn't help people make money. Like I don't teach people. You don't have to teach people how to make money. It's just helping people get to a desired result, right? And
Hmm.
so that result could be many different things, like Ria said. It could be that they want to learn how. Well, let me give you an example. Some of you all know Russell Brunson, who is the founder of ClickFunnels. If you've never heard of
Hmm.
him, it's all good. But Russell Brunson started out his marketing career selling potato guns online. All right, just give you teaching people how to build potato guns. If you've never seen these potato guns, they're like the PVC pipes. You put a potato in and you like light it and it shoots a potato out. Like this dude's worth millions and millions and millions of dollars now, but he started out teaching people how to create potato shooters, these potato guns, which is like so weird and so odd.
Hmm.
But people wanted to know, like, of course, it was probably a bunch of dudes like me, like, oh man, that'd be so cool. Like, let me figure out how to shoot potatoes out of this PVC pipe, right? And so it was really weird, but he was able to capitalize on it because it was something people wanted to learn. It was a desired result that people wanted. And so there's some of you here, just ask yourself, what is the desired result of those that I would help, right? And then how can I help them get there? And it doesn't have to be like Ria said. I want to reiterate what you said because it's so powerful. You don't have to know everything about stock trading, but you just need to know a little bit more than the person learning from you, right? You need to just
Yeah.
help them get to where maybe you're at. You need to help them get to the next level, right? And then maybe somebody else can help them go above and beyond if you aren't where you want to be, right? Maybe they can go and find somebody else to get them to the final stage, but you at least have to get them just a couple steps further than where they're already at. And if you can provide them those results, it can be so powerful. So, anyways, you're dropping gems, girl. You're dropping amazing, amazing fire. I'm loving this conversation so far. This is so cool.
Listen, the thought that came to mind as you were talking, what we have to come to the place of appreciating is that some persons would plant the seed, some would water, and then,
Mm,
of course, then you get the increase. It's not a matter of having to be in that place where you're thinking, you know, something, I have to seed, I have to water, and I have to be there for the increase. That may not necessarily be your assignment. Your assignment, for whomever it is that you're actually helping out, is to just figure out what your portion is. You just be concerned about what your portion is. If your portion is to just plant the seed, then that's fine. If your portion is to give some sort of encouragement or gives another two steps, it's going to help them to get to where they're now seeing that, you know something, I'm getting some watering happening here, and that's fine. And then it may be another coach that may be the person that may help them, where they actually just give them that little, that just one little push and say, you know something, this is the tipping edge, and this is now what causes them to have the blow up. So
man,
you just be
that's
concerned
powerful.
about what your portion is and not be focused about anybody else. Understand your why. Why is it that you are doing this? For me, one of the things, even in recent times, just hearing people complain or just saying, Ria, I'm just so tired. I'm frustrated on this job. Like, listen, one of the things that gave me a gut punch the other day was somebody said to me, I hate my job.
Mm,
Like, oh my gosh, I hate my job. It's just so, So heart wrenching just to hear that people are in workspaces, are in environments that's not necessarily conducive to who it is that they are, and it's not even helping them to be in that place where they are being fulfilled and they are even productive. So what is it that I can do? For me, it's now being in that place. How can I now get you to find ways that you can create additional streams of income? I'll give you another example. There is, even when you think about the human resources field, we can think about human resources managers in many of our corporate companies, in corporate environments. A human resources manager may say, you know something, well, I don't have anything that I can actually teach somebody. Now that's a lie. Like that's a lie. When you think about any given business, it's, as long as there's people, there's human resources.
Right.
As long as there's people, there's human resources. Take that information that you know. You may think about something as simple, and even though it's not simple, payroll. How to properly structure payroll. If you think that you are in a unionized environment, what are some things that people need to know? How do you structure a job description? How do you structure a resume? You can actually write a whole ebook about resume writing and preparing for an interview. Run a
Yep.
whole course on how
100%.
do you do that. These are just some of the things that people don't necessarily think about in terms of what information do you know that you think that's very simple, that's not as simple and can help so many people.
I love it. And I want to hit on what you were talking about 2 minutes ago whenever you were talking about why are you doing this? And I think so many people jump into the info product business. So many people jump into coaching or creating courses, ebooks because they think, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money, which is cool. You can make a lot of money. You can increase your income through what we're talking about. But what I've learned and what I've evaluated is if you aren't doing it for the right reasons, you're eventually going to burn out and
Yep.
you're not going to enjoy what you're going to do, ultimately not giving your clients the best experience, right? Not giving them that watering they need, that nurturing they need, right? We were talking about. And so if you're going into this business just for the money, I'm going to be honest, it's probably not going to be a long-term thing for you because you're going to get in and realize that yes, it's cool making money online, but there's a lot of work to it, and there needs to be a purpose behind it, right? There needs to be a purpose and a why and a drive behind what you're doing. And so don't just jump into something and creating something because you think it's going to be profitable, but get into it because you think it's going to be purposeful, right? And so
Hmm.
that's just something I wanted to say because I've evaluated some coaches, over the past. I've worked with, I don't know, many coaches, ran many virtual events over the past 5 to 6 years, and the people who are in it just for the money end up actually going backwards. Not all of them, but most of them end up going backwards later on because their their heart isn't there to help the clients, and their clients eventually find that out, and it just doesn't turn out good. So ask yourself, why do I want to leverage my information? Why do I want to get this info out into the world, and how can I help people the most? And once you ask those questions, that's when you're going to see a lot of the results and a lot of the satisfaction come. So anyways, side note, sorry, I go out on these tangents all the time,
No,
so I
listen, but that's a good side note. So while we're talking about the why and the power of the why, let's hone in a little bit more on that, right? When we think about the why, that why is going to be that thing that pushes you. It's going to keep you going. It's going to keep you motivated. The reality of it is, even though you may get in that space where you're creating informational products, you may create an ebook, you may create a mini course, you may create your expanded version of your course. All of these things are good. But what happens if nobody buys it? Or what happens if nobody shows up when you put on an online event? What happens if nobody shows up, or you just have one or two persons that shows up to your masterclass? It's going to be your why that's going to help to push
yep,
you. Even though while you're talking, you may be talking to one person that shows up, but you're going to talk to that one person as if there's a million people in the room. It still pushes you because at the end of the day, that one person is still worth it.
yep,
Will you stop and do it for the one? And yet again, so that's just to kind of help us to understand. Once we get to that place where we understand our why is going to help to keep us motivated, keep us going ahead to push, keep us looking and finding more ways that we can be creative, and even having to fine tune our target audience? Who is it that we're sending out this message to? When we understand our why, it helps us to clarify who our target audience is, because I'm not going to be talking to everybody. I'm not talking to everybody. I'm not called to everybody. There are a few people, there's a select group of people that I'm called to. And that's what it is. When you understand your why, you understand who it is that you're called to, that's going to be the thing that's going to help to keep you motivated and keep you going when those days get so rough. Because a lot of times we talk about, oh, the glorious, right? It's glitter, glammy, lights, camera, action. But there are some down moments when things may not necessarily be working out the way that you would have anticipated it
100%.
to do so.
And man, we could sit there and talk about like 30 minutes on all just that alone. But yeah, so everything you said is 100% true. And like I was just sitting here thinking, if some of you all just want to start a movement, right? Some of you all want to just start a new wave of people thinking differently, acting differently, operating at a new level. And to start a movement, it doesn't take many people. So I just want to throw that out there. One, to make a lot of money with the info product business, it doesn't take a lot of people if you structure your products right. If you're just starting a movement, let's put money aside. It doesn't take many people to start a movement. And so if you think back to some of the greatest movements, it just was a few key people that were there from the start that helped ignite the fire, right? And so I love that you're saying that you need to have a why, because your why and that mindset, how you think during those times when only a few people purchase your product or only a few people show up to the event you throw, like focus on those people, because those could be the people that actually kickstart the fire and actually light the match. So I love it. So Ria, as we're ending this out, because I know I want to honor your time, so we're closing this out. What would be like one last piece of advice? So these people, they're like, amazing. I'm loving what I hear. I could turn what I know, my expertise, things I'm doing every day, and like start making money with it. What would be one final piece of advice you would give to people to get started on this journey, or maybe for those that are already started, just to kind of ramp up their process?
The one thing that I would say for the person that hasn't started is to get started. Like, don't delay. Don't, I mean, you're here. You're hearing that it's possible. Get started today. Today. It's not as difficult as you think that it possibly could be or may have been. You just need to simply go ahead and get started. And there's nothing wrong with you going ahead to tweak it as you go. It's I'll say this is taking imperfect action on a daily basis, right, Michael?
Exactly.
Take that imperfect action on a daily basis. Get rid of having that perfectionism and that over processing, just over processing because you want to go ahead and have a perfect product. Don't worry about it being a perfect product. Put it out there, get yourself out there, and just see what God has for you, because He has good plans for us. So I would just say, just go ahead and just do it.
Get started. Just do it. Do it now. Love it. Ria, thanks
Mhm.
for coming on here. I appreciate your heart. I appreciate you being so engaged with everything we've been putting on. So, listen, I know you have a new program, the Money Multiplier Society, I believe is what it's called, and a few other product. Where can people go to just find out more about who you are, how to connect with you, and maybe some of the products that you even offer to help people get started in this?
Sure. So thank you so much for that. So if you want to go ahead and get connected with me, of course, I would say to you, you can check me out on Instagram. That's at underscore Ria Christina. So that's where you'll find me on Instagram. And of course, if you want to connect with me, otherwise, you can actually check out my website. That's riachristina.com. And you'll see information with regards to the Money Multiplier Society there, what it is that you can expect and how it actually runs.
Love it. Well, thanks for being on here, guys. I hope this kind of sparked a fire inside of your brain, inside of your heart to go out there and serve people, but also teach them what you know and pass on your information. Listen, if you need any assistance at all, reach out to me, reach out to Ria. We'd love to connect with you. But we host episodes like this quite often. So go ahead, click the subscribe button, whether you're listening right now. If you're watching on YouTube, click the subscribe button. Go ahead and get notified about these shows, because we have people like Ria. Ria's awesome, but we have other people coming on as well to the show that you'll definitely want to learn from. We go into digital marketing, digital sales, and many other tactics and topics that will help you grow your digital business. So, Ria, again, thanks, guys. We will see you right here for the next $1 Million Secrets episode. Have a great week. God bless you guys, and we'll see you very soon. See you, Ria.
All right. Thank you.